we're here. Hello, welcome back to my channel, and obviously since I'm sitting here, I am back from my 2-week trip to Toronto. I had such an amazing time. I got to see and meet up with so many other writers. I actually got an okay amount of words in, and I got to explore a wonderful city. I feel like the main thing that this trip did for me was just confirm my ever-growing love for Canada. Like, Toronto, the city, is amazing. I have loved Vancouver, I've loved Calgary, I've loved Montreal. Canada. But I also learned a lot of interesting things, some about myself, some about my stories, and some about like writer mindset, I guess. I'm thinking about one lesson in particular, and maybe it was more affirmed than learned for the first time, but we're gonna get there. So this video is going to be a bit different because it's going to be like half in the moment vlog and half current me like talking about my experience. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the actual original purpose for my visit to Toronto was for the Wonder Writers Retreat. This was going to be, in quotes, my first official retreat because of course I've met up with Becca several times and I met up with Brooke in Dallas, but this is the first time that there was going to be so many other people, like so many other people. There were 16 people, including myself. Also, yes, I found gum on my seatbelt on my first flight, and it just made me feel very uncomfortable the rest of the plane ride. A little bit unfortunate. I've never had that happen before. But of course, I wanted to explore more of the city because of the aforementioned love I have for Canada. And Toronto has been at like the very top of my list for a long time now. And I'm kind of like a lone explorer sometimes, so I figured I would lean into that. So I went 4 nights early before the retreat started, and I stayed at a hostel, and then I stayed an additional 3 nights right after the retreat at Becca's place. So thank you, Becca and Stefan, for letting me stay with you. So one of the greatest things about traveling for me is just how much it ends up inspiring my writing. I think it's honestly just about seeing something new, which is why I always advocate for going on walks if you're stuck on something. Like, travel can even be to the other side of town. It doesn't have to be some big thing, some new country, some anything. Like, it can be something just as basic as like a street you haven't been down before, because I think your brain just gets activated by seeing something new or like a little bit different. I also think it does wonders for world building, at least for me as someone who's like not the best world builder. It's like it reinvigorates my brain to be like, oh yeah, here's like, you're noticing all the sights and all the sounds and all the smells and all of these things that go into making this incredibly vibrant, beautiful world for your stories. And it's just all the pieces that I kind of forget when I'm in the same place all the time. And my hostel, by the way, was amazing. I'm an idiot and didn't film inside of it, so I'm gonna flash some pictures that they advertise it for, but I think it's like one of the best ones in North America or something like that. It was very cool. But that first night I did spend working on an essay a little bit up on the rooftop of it, and you could see into downtown Toronto, and it was just, oh, it was so beautiful. And I was not the only one up there, like, we were all taking pictures and videos. I saw some people doing time lapses, like, it was just so cool. They also gave us these lockers that you could put your stuff in, but because I was taking my backpack to go hang out with Becca all day, all that I ended up taking out of it was the monster that is the Count of Monte Cristo. But that book was guarded, lock and key. But as cool as my hostel was, ultimately I didn't actually spend that much time in it, because I think almost every single day, as soon as I got up in the morning, I like got my stuff ready and I was out the door for like the 30-minute jaunt up to where Becca lived. My first full day in town though, we went to this really cool library that's nearby her, and then we also freaking lucked out because Heidi, our friend Heidi from Listen I Have an Idea, one of the first like author tubers I interacted with when I was making NaNoWriMo vlogs for the first time ever, like Heidi. She lives near-ish Toronto, and she was able to come into town, and we got to meet up with her in person for the first time, and it was just so cool. And she was kind enough to show us around downtown Toronto.
I know it sounds so weird, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Wow, this is where you need the time lapse.
I know, I was just thinking of doing that. I remember driving by that building and like, no, you don't. You made that up. There is no building there.
Walk. god, all the way up. The bone.
And then some of the actual windows are real windows and the rest are painted.
Hey, look at this little pedestrian bridge.
And look at that view. Look up, look at that.
Oh my god. That's such a like, oh, that's so high. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Hey guys, welcome to St. Power Experience. How are you today? Good. So we are heading over this speed now, 22 kilometers or 15 miles an hour.
They're caging us in. Oh yeah, that's like super strong.
It's green.
I had such a good time. AuthorTube has been such an interesting experience for me because like Heidi's dad said, like these are internet people and how do you really know internet people? But something about watching people's videos, commenting on their videos, having them watch your videos and them commenting on it, participating in live streams with them, like you do kind of get a gauge for how you would mesh with that person. And I've made some incredible friends doing this, Heidi and Becca included, and I feel like so lucky to be able to say that. Speaking of knowing people, the next day after that, Becca and I did like a little bit of writing. Oh no, you're out of focus.
I'm always out of focus.
And I did a little bit of exploring a library, but then we actually went to this Harry Potter store called Curioso, which one of y'all recommended to me. Thank you so much for that because that place was so cool. Becca was able to get this specific patch she was looking for.
Yeah. The one I had, it was really
Oh, the first glasses I ever had, not on purpose, but were totally Harry Potter glasses.
proud of you, no bogger.
Everyone's just like gushing about Becca and all of her nerd stuff. And this is where we're gonna go later. It ended up being one of my favorite places that I went to while I was in Toronto. It was so cool. It's like nerd and geekdom threw up on it. I loved it. There are so many layers, so many cool things inside, so many amazingly themed drinks.
It'll be interesting because I've been to the university.
I know.
To see how different it is.
I'm curious too.
Pretty similar. It's just carbonated.
Oh. I don't remember because it was amazing. But since author bucket lists have kind of been a recurring theme for me for the last few videos, I do think it would be so cool, like Curiosa, to have a store that people go to that's just around your fandom, or also to be featured, like one of the creatures you've created to be featured in Stormcrow Manor or something. Like how cool would that be? Then Becca and I spent the next day together again with a little bit of writing, a lot of chatting, and her allowing me numerous coffee shop visits. The next day was when my nerves for the retreat were like starting to trickle up from like a low level panic to like I was panicking. I was panicking. Because there are a few things I know about myself up front. I'm introverted, I'm not the best in big groups, and I think I take a while to like warm up to people. This makes me sound like I don't like people. I do like people. I think it was just the fact that it was going to be 15 people that I didn't know. I really didn't know. I didn't even know who was going to be going on the retreat when I said yes. I think because authortube has allowed me to get into contact with so many people that I can now call friends, and this was actually before I've made even more friends, and so I was just so like on a high and wanting that I immediately signed up and didn't think about like, or maybe I was trying to push myself out of my boundaries. I don't know what it was. I am glad I said yes, but that's all of this like culminates into why I was really nervous about everything. But I was thankful, since I was already in town, that Jesse and Evie, the co-founders of the Wander Writers Retreat, were happy to meet up with me for dinner. But before dinner, there was actually some things I still wanted to see in Toronto. So very, very early in the morning, I woke up and I walked from my hostel and went on a bit of an exploration of the waterfront area. This is actually one of the many reasons I'm still obsessed with Vancouver, because when I visited in Vancouver, I think I went to Stanley Park every single day I was there. I love the water. And I think that's also part of the reason that I love traveling so much, is I'm trying to find like some kind of ideal place. I do love Texas, but Texas is way too effing hot for most of the year for me. And so I'm kind of just on a search for where I'd want to live, where I'd want to settle down. I don't know. And I've always thought I wanted to be by the ocean, because I think the water really calms me and I feel connected to the earth in a way that I can't really explain, and it sounds kind of dumb, but like, I love the water. But having visited Toronto now, and when I went to Duluth on my super mega solo road trip, I'm realizing that the Great Lakes are big enough that that water had the same kind of effect on me. So, you know, I'm just always constantly making these mental notes. And then the other great thing about Toronto is that it has a bunch of like green space and all these parks, and that's something that I've really loved about like London and Sydney too. And it's like, just, I think it's so cool that you can have a city, but with a bunch of water and a bunch of green space. It's like all of the things you could potentially want in one place.
See, and that's what after a year of being here, so that says a lot about how great it is.
And then it was time to meet up with Jesse and Evie, and I actually got to the mall before them, and I stumbled upon this like kind of cool pop-up art gallery, I guess, and then I did not vlog anything else because I'm the worst. It was really nice to get to chat with them ahead of time. We talked about all the usual things that writers get to talking about, and then also I think it was nice to like have some amount of like one-on-one talk ahead of the retreat, so I already felt a little bit calmer than I would have otherwise. It sort of eased my fears. I'm saying a lot of sort ofs here because I'm remembering when we all got to the house and all of the girls were there, and that first like bit of excitement, it was like so much was going on, and poor Brooke looked over at me and was like, "Are you doing okay?" We'll get to that part. But anyways, I then went back to my hostel and I slept with my 4 other temporary roomies. And then the next day I joined Jesse, Evie, and Brooke, who'd come in super late that night, and stayed with them at their hotel. There's an embarrassing story about me accidentally Ubering to the wrong Hilton and Jesse having to come and be my hero and save me. But we're gonna skip over that part. Are you vlogging me?
What? This precision, this skill, this Brooke. You can do it.
You got this, girl.
We are
Right there.
oh no, they're already up.
We're here, finally.
Where do you want to claim, Brooke? You're supposed to get in here with me. Oh, hold on. Yay! I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. It's Jesse, our fearless leader. We'll claim that way. Hey, this is us! Yay! We're here. I'm so excited. We've helped unload everything. Brooke and I ate a lot of candy while attempting to help put things in jars, but everyone else isn't going to arrive for a few more hours, I think. So it's really been nice to just kind of ease into the weekend. This is going to be a better tour of the room that Brooke and I are sharing. We got a desk with my backpack, my suitcase, my shoes. You have this really nice little window that you can see out of. You can see the rest of the street. This is not angled quite right. We're going to fix that. Okay. Oh no, it doesn't stay. Well, okay, she's going to be sideways. We have another painting, lamp, bed, another lamp. We are room C, and then we are going to have the Jack and Jill bedrooms with someone else. This is gonna be their room, whoever they are. And yeah, we're very excited. Brooke and I are going to be closer than ever. But I do think it is time. I'm going to attempt to help a little bit more and get things ready. It's now 3:57. I think we're gonna start seeing everyone else pretty soon. Ah! Oh! There she is.
Oh, Kate, hello.
But she didn't bring her special lotion though, so it's fine. Brooke and her special lotion. I can't, you guys. And then it was time. I'm not gonna turn down the volume for this because I want you to have like a full appreciation for the impact of how many people were talking. Cause like it was truly a buzz of excitement, or it was louder than a buzz.
It wasn't. Oh my gosh, this is loaded.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Oh yes, baby.
Y'all just look so cute together. I feel like the rest of the night kind of went by in a blur for me of getting to know people in like small groups, and it made me extra thankful to have already known Brooke and to have gotten to meet up with Jessie and Evie again, just because I think that helped to ease me into like, okay, I've talked with some people, I can go talk with other people in small groups, and it's just a fascinating thing moving from seeing these people all on a screen and now you're seeing them in person. Like, that's never not fascinating to me. Every time I've met up with someone, whether it's Becca or it's Heidi or it's Brooke, it's always been like, oh yeah, this is a little bit different. Usually there's like a rectangle somewhere around here, but you know, it's fine. Also, I'm gonna throw this out there because everyone was surprised at how tall I was, because you can't tell when there's a background, but I'm about 5'7", 5'8", so if you ever see me in person, I'm apparently taller than you might imagine. That next day though, I think was actually my most productive day in terms of like word count. It was either that or it was the 10K day. It's 6 a.m. Writers Club. What was that, Brooke?
Woot woot.
Okay, first writing sprint of the retreat down. I got like 500 words. Still not awake yet. It is 7:03 and now some of us are gonna go for a run. I'm probably gonna go by myself because I'm doing a run walk thing, but it's time. I did it. I'm done. First run in Canada. Woo!
Listen, don't destroy. You know what I realized? Listening to the weirdest music right now.
How'd you do?
818.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Just a smile.
All right, what were 2,873, but that's because I copy and pasted.
And then around 3-ish, I think, Brooke and I decided to go to this local coffee shop. Y'all know my deep love for local coffee shops. Hello. Can I get a cappuccino?
For takeout or for here?
For here.
For here.
Yes, please. I went ahead and just got a cappuccino, but that's kind of like how I rate places. I'm like, what do I think of their cappuccino? Brooke, hard at work. Something. It looks so good. Oh, okay, fine. Be cute. I can't. Brooke. So Brooke and I are in this cute little coffee shop. It's Brooke. We're actually on the second floor. Look outside. It's so pretty. Let's see, that's nice.
There's one over here.
This is Brooke's view.
The view is gorgeous.
It doesn't even focus. Oh, there you go. The wall. Over my shoulder.
How are you doing?
That's really nice. I would say we're getting an okay amount done.
Just okay.
Just okay. Because like, we might be talking. Mostly.
Might be.
Definitely. There's just something about getting out of the house and switching up what you're seeing that I find so helpful. I guess kind of similar to the whole traveling, just kind of awakening something else in my brain. Everywhere you look, there's different inspiration, which is probably why that next day I was so excited that it was like our tourist day. This is my new favorite thing, Timbits. And we got to take the freaking train. Yes, I love trains. As a Texan, the bus system here in San Antonio and like the DART system in Dallas is about the extent of public transportation that we have, but I love it. I love public transportation. I enjoy driving. Otherwise I would not have gone on a super mega solo road trip, right? But really, in my ideal living place, I wouldn't need a car. I would just be able to walk everywhere or use public transportation to get anywhere that I want to go. How's your first train?
I've only been on a Disney World or Disneyland train. I feel like that's all I do.
I only went on my first train like when I started dating my boyfriend.
Brooke's quote, not a Disney train.
Over there, Starbucks over there.
Starbucks.
Ooh, Starbucks sounds fun. We're in Texas. You're from Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. San Antonio area, but I've lived in Dallas too.
This is where they do fan access.
Yes. The people are up there. And now, since I'd actually done most of the touristy things, I decided to stay mostly at coffee shops under the guise of getting a lot of work in. I got a mint. Or chocolate. Yeah. And then over there is the CN Tower, and then Meg is going to be here with me. It's cute, it's nice. Which isn't actually at all what ended up happening, but I'm very thankful for that because that day was one of those times where I got to spend a lot of like one-on-one quality time with people that I hadn't had the chance to connect with. And that's why you go on these retreats, right? Like that's why you do these meetups, even like NaNoWriMo groups. Like that's why you go to the kickoff events. There's something about getting to connect with another writer on a seemingly one-on-one basis or like on a personal level, because it's such a huge part of your life that only other writers get to understand, and it's like this baseline that doesn't even need saying. You can just talk about stuff freely and openly, and getting to do that with people that I really have only seen on the screen before was really nice to get to know more about their personal lives. So that was a great day for me. And also that night was the night that we were at dinner, and that's where the kind of edge of the table that I was on was talking about their writing bucket lists. And it is another thing about just chatting with other writers that it's like ever since then it's kind of been in my mind for a bit, and I've been mulling it over, and it's just been fascinating for me to see the evolution in my own thought process around it these last couple weeks. And yeah, had I not had that, there's some realizations I don't know that I would have had, and I just think that's so cool, and it's nice to get to share that with other people. Right? That's gotta be. Or maybe it's not a wedding and it's like a... What is it? We're naming the camera. I'm not very good with it. So we got Wally, we got Gizmo.
I have a Wally. Hi, Wally.
Yay! And we're writing, kind of.
Totally. Not
I mean,
talking or getting distracted.
Right. I'm not writing, but they're gonna write.
I'm writing.
They're gonna be good. I think today is Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. The days are all blurring together. And we're doing our 10K day today. I've done tons of 10K days before, but I am a little like nervous today to do it. I'm riding with Brooke in there. Got a group in there. Are you excited for 10K today?
Yes, but we'll see if it happens.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It's just like,
Brooke and I have already been riding for a bit, but also we're trying to see if we can hang out with Becca today. That's the plan. So we're probably not gonna get the 10K.
probably not. I feel like this is every time
Probably not.
about riding. It's like maybe, probably not.
I have 328 words. If I could get the 10K, I would finish this story basically. First draft. It's the second cup.
What they're supposed to maybe they don't know about all of their disabilities. Maybe they just 15 pages left. 115 pages.
No, it was for the vlog. And then it was time for Brooke and I to go meet up with Becca in person. Where Brooke got her oracle cards read.
Nothing's ever negative, you know what I mean? So it's not like it's like, oh, you're gonna die if it's sideways, you know.
And we took her to the bar that Becca and I had already been to, the very cool one, Stormcrow Manor. Awesome. I know. There's the monster. Oh, tour! I know! Oh my god! I'm so glad we came back. Really leaning into this nerd theme there, you get to roll this 20-sided dice and you get a random drink.
There's an alligator.
I rolled wrong. I kind of hate orange.
And you're sure you don't want to...
I'm happy to switch. I've never been happier to switch. Yes, it's fine.
Really?
It's your first poutine bite.
Okay. So this is like a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a Canada thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like it?
Right?
Okay. There we go. Oh my god. Hours later. Oh my gosh. I've never actually seen. Oh, but I know y'all were talking about her. Oh, here's the infinity shots that person got.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Oh, this is a different set of staircases, I feel like. So cool. I'm gonna have to show my mom the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, is that her favorite or one?
She loves the Cheshire Cat. All in all, that day, I think I got another approximately like 3,000 words. And actually, let me go find it. Hold on. Jessie and Evie made us these cute little booklet things and I wrote down what my goals were. Just, again, we're gonna go back to how much I think I can do versus how much I ever actually do. But this one was exacerbated and I'm gonna talk about why in a second. So my goal for the retreat was to get 20,000 words in one project and then about 10,000 words in another project. So I wanted to get 30,000 words-ish. Maybe 35,000 is closer of an estimate than what I wrote down. Got about maybe 7,000 words. I didn't even touch one of the projects I wanted to work on. And the reason I think this problem of me just like never meeting up with my goals is exacerbated is because the expectations around a retreat versus like, I guess I did, it was my first one. It was my first writing retreat. I don't know that I had the right expectations going in. So I chose, you know, getting to know people better over words. And also I'm just an idiot who thinks she can write way more than apparently she actually can. I could see other writing retreats being more about getting words. And I actually think for the people who participated in the 10K day, like there were people who won that 10K day challenge. I was not one of them. Brooke was not one of them. But like, so you could have written more than what I did, I guess is what I'm saying. And actually, in fact, I don't think I wrote any more during the retreat time. I did write more in Toronto after the retreat, but I did not write any more during the retreat because that next day was actually another day that we were going to get to spend in town. I was very excited because we were going to do an escape room in Casa Loma, and we were going to get to go to the Harry Potter bar, the Lockhart, which again, another one of y'all recommended to me. Thank you so much for that recommendation. Everyone who went loved it. Okay, let's jump into that day. First, of course, we had to go to a bookstore. We're writers. The bookstore is where we all just, I don't know what this is supposed to be, but this is what we do. Once upon always and never again in an ancient city by the sea, three sisters worked by candlelight. Stepsister. And then yours is, once upon a time in the magical land of Enchantia, a queen sat in her turret dreaming of a new life. Are you telling me? Those are, but they're not by the same author. This is publishing at its most interesting. Yes. Holly's like, uh-huh.
They're expecting.
Dun 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 dun. It's a castle.
Thanks for looking at it.
Oh, yes. We're gonna escape the castle. Explore. Oh shit. Oh, tunnel. This property is split in half.
Is this the way?
By an east-west road called.
Is this the way we need to go?
I don't know.
Oh,
I was like, I saw like the tail end of Kate. I'm like,
here we go.
around the other girls.
I think, are they still in the bathroom? I don't know.
I think Bethany was in the back.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the right area.
I feel like it's not.
I'm really excited.
Look at how cool it is out. Oh. Oh my gosh. Woo. Oh, all the suits of armor. Where's the library? You can see the CN Tower. That's so cool. That'd be so pretty. Oh my gosh, Holly. Oh, look, they're coming down. Oh, how crazy is that? Da, 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 da. Onward! We won though! We won!
I feel like she totally would have let me just take
It's so cute though! And this was another great day for me because again, I felt like I got to connect with more people that I hadn't gotten to connect with, and we ended the day with frickin' Disney sing-alongs, and y'all know that's just everything I've ever wanted. Raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon! But then, it was time to leave. Bye! Thank you. And I went directly from there to hanging out with Becca and Stefan. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my overall thoughts on retreats, any that I haven't touched on already right now. So I would absolutely go to a writing retreat again. I think I would only go to one where it's like a maximum of 8 people. And this is one of those things that's entirely me based because I am more introverted, and because I think I really don't do well in big groups. I tend to just kind of like, once we get over a certain number of people, I immediately like snap into some kind of like observer mode, and I don't know what it is. I'm just not someone who thrives with people, I guess. This is why this dynamic works great for me. And so I think I would go on a writing retreat again. It would just have to be a max of 8 people. You know, I think it would be really fun to do one where here's the thing, right? Okay. Because I love traveling so much, I think that I would always go and stay late on either side of the retreat unless the retreat took place in like a cabin in the woods or like on the beach, like somewhere where there's not stuff I'm wanting to see every single day. Because I feel like Toronto, even as I saw more stuff with Becca later, and even though I'd seen all this stuff at the beginning and even stuff that I didn't put on film, I went to a lot of really cool places. I got to walk around and see so much, but it's just, there's so much to see. There's so much to do. It's just so cool that I think I wouldn't want those two things for me to be at odds with each other. So yeah. But ultimately I'm going to like reinforce how cool it is to see all these people who also both write and do authortube, a very like niche thing. Like there's not everyone who writes is making videos about their experience, and it's just cool to like have that in common, you know? And so it was nice to get to talk to them more than I can see on the video side of it. And I'm so thankful to have been invited by Evie and Jesse, and I'm also pumped for all the writers I got to meet and talk with about the writing process, and several of them have books that are coming out soon, so it's like just more people that I get to root for that I didn't know really before, and that's just so cool. So yeah, I'm also super looking forward to the vlogs and videos from next year's crowd that goes, and all the crowds after that. Like that was one of the coolest things for me last year, was getting to watch all of the vlogs and the videos and the collabs from the people that went on the writing retreat, and I just think that's so cool. I'm excited to see if there's not going to be more people from the authortube crowd in the future, that like those of them that live together getting to actually be in person at some point. So yeah, I guess I'm just looking forward to everything. And then it was time to hang out with Becca again. It looks so good. And my drink. And Becca! And stuff. I did a worse and worse job filming as the 2 weeks went along, but we also went to this museum, and God, similar to travel, museums are amazing for inspiration. Museums are so cool. The ceiling. If they still have the original someplace hidden. Stegosaurus. What's your favorite dinosaur?
I'm just looking at these, they're so recent.
Oh no. I don't like grasshoppers. I know, that's huge.
Because recent means exists, right?
I think so.
My favorite dinosaur is the raptor.
Raptor. Yeah. There were several things where I read something that I never would have considered, but it's like great nuggets for world building. While we were at the museum, I actually got an idea for my pirate novel as I was looking at these like individual ships. It's just so cool to see how other people live, how people in the past have lived, and I'm just fascinated by so much of that. I really am fascinated by people. Can't do big groups, but fascinated by people. Plus, while I was there, Becca actually got one of her final proofs just to check the little bit of tweaking she'd done on the cover, and it was good to go, and her book's out now. And we already celebrated during like our pre-release writing party on the 19th, but it's really cool for me as someone who's not published yet to get to see Becca doing all of this stuff. And I know she's looking more into like how to market stuff, and she showed me like some behind the scenes of Mark Dawson's course, and I know I'll pick that up in the future. And it's just, I have casually raved about Becca a bunch. I will try not to do it too much here, but like Becca's the best, so. And then it was time for me to leave. So I said goodbye to Toronto, goodbye to Snake. Hi, Snake. Oh, you're so cute. No. Goodbye to Stefan and Becca, and then I flew back in the tiniest plane I've ever been in, which was actually really cool, over the Great Lake, which was phenomenal. And then I got my second plane back to Texas. Spotted! They have been spotted. And all in all, it was a wonderful 2 weeks. I learned a lot about myself, about my stories, about how I want to do things going forward. I got to meet so many incredible people, and yeah. 2 weeks in Toronto, yeah. Comment down below, let me know where you're wanting to travel to next. Let me know if you ever meet up with other writers in person, and let me know if you've made any discoveries about your stories in the past 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you especially to some of my new patrons this month: Mickey Miles, Sylvana Jazara, Michelle Cantwell, Samantha Bruner, Lucas Pitkovitz, and Jennifer Memot, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Bye! This is what I always try and fix my hair if I'm gonna do it. I'm already recording, but I look at myself in the thing and I'm like, okay. I'm just gonna pull the stuff down, fix my hair. Excuse you, why are you wet? You can't even see it from this angle.
At least there's not boxer shorts
There we go.
that are left here.
True story.